Welcome to the King and Chapman Show. Today is Wednesday, July 17th. I am Brent Chapman, and with me is the original
Big
Fab One, Jimmy King.
What's up, B? I'm inspired by that again, but I also love that shirt. It's a great shirt you got going on. The colors are vibrant and beautiful. It looks like you're wearing gloves that just pop off your neck, like you just came from the gym.
This is a Manny Pacquiao circa probably 15 years ago special shirt that I bought in Manila, I believe.
That is special. Nate pointed it out because he thought you were wearing actual gloves around your neck, so I had to say something about it.
It is a fantastic shirt. It is about 15 years old, which is good that it's only this far up and it has these gloves because it is like sucked on to my skin, and these gloves are blocking some growth that I've had over the past decade or so in the chest region. This is not good growth.
Well, speaking of growth, I wore my big fro for you today.
I
know you love the afro. I got it washed and blown out.
Jimmy, I love it. I saw that and I'm like, that is my fro. I love it. Now, Jimmy, I don't know if you noticed, but I also got my hair cut today as well, a little high and tight.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Yep. High and tight, nice and neat, trimmed
Nice.
well. It
That's
goes
right.
It fits well with your look. I love it. You got like the street brawl nerdy look.
Anything with nerdy in it, Jimmy. That's really what I was looking for. You hit it right on the head, bro. That's it, my man. Well, Jimmy, we have been this week's shows. We are going to dive into baseball. This past weekend, Major League Baseball was in our hometown, or our town that we live in, Arlington, here in Dallas, for the All-Star game and the All-Star activities. And so we had on Monday night the home run derby, and it was pretty exciting. It went down to the last hit. Bobby Witt Jr. versus Teoscar Hernandez. I don't know all these baseball players' names, but Bobby Witt Jr. is a rookie. Just blasted this ball to tie it, and it fell just short of the center field wall, and Hernandez won the home run derby. So, Jimmy, this year's format was a little bit different. The players could use a maximum of 40 pitches over 3 minutes. They could hit as many home runs as possible before they going into the bonus round, right? So then they got reduced to 2 minutes and 27 pitches. So it was a little bit different than before, where they got 10, like the old McGuire Sosa days, remember? 10 outs, and they would just crush like 90 home runs. It was awesome. Right. And so they tried something different this year. And so really the question that we have to ask ourselves, is the home run derby the best of all the all-star activities? You got the 3-point contest, you got the dunk contest, you got the weird international all-star US thing in hockey, you've got the speed skate in hockey, you got some cool stuff in football, you've got the gauntlet drills and the flag football game and all that. So in baseball, I got the home run derby in the celebrity games. So Jimmy, what do you got? What's your favorite all-star activity? Is it watching the long ball?
I know it's going to sound like I'm biased because I played the sport of basketball, but basketball, I think they're doing a great job, particularly with, trying to engage the fandom, engage the people in the cities that they're going to or hosting the All-Star games. They've switched the formats multiple times over the past like 10 years. They went to one format where you pick the team, then they went from uh, crossing east and west, and so they added like partnering, or they had a 3-on-3 with the WNBA.
That was cool.
um they had the skills challenge, which they still have today. So they're trying to engage and do multiple things to keep everybody entertained. So I would go with, if I had to pick one, I would go with the NBA. But
No, which
across the
activity,
board, they're
Jimmy?
all kind of lame and boring.
Okay, so you go with the NBA, but which activity is the best? Is it the 3-point contest? Is it the dunk contest?
I would say the dunk contest, but the 3-point contest is just exciting too, just because of the level in which people
Yeah,
paid attention to the 3-point shot now. Steph Curry has
I,
changed that tremendously, but it was always a big part of the NBA weekend back in the day. But if I had to choose one, I would definitely say the dunk contest, because you want to see the creativity, you want to see if someone does something differently or do something that we've seen before, but with their own style and flair.
so Jimmy, you're going to be surprised, but I'm going to go against you on this, right? Mostly for entertainment purposes. But I think personally, I would say I really enjoy the 3-point contest personally to watch. But I'm going to say that the home run derby is the best all star activity. And here's why, Jimmy. Because in the dunk contest, really, I mean, it's a hoop with a ball, and there's only so much things that you can do when dunking it, right? I mean, it's not like there's
Yeah, but it's the
you
creativity. You
yeah,
want to see the
creativity
creativity,
though
right?
is there's only so much a human body can do, two-handed, a one-handed, a Jimmy King like this, right? That's super cool, and it's cool to watch. But here's the thing about the home run derby, and I don't like this format change, and I think this format change hurts it. But I'm talking about the Brent Chapman kid teen home run derby. That was fantastic, because there's nothing better than these big guys, and they got them today. Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt Jr., Juan Soto, getting up there and just kicking the crap out of these beach balls, throwing over the plate, and just having them fly 450 yards, 500 yards, and just having them tee off. The best part of a baseball game is batting practice.
But wait a
Going
minute, B. You
and
you
watching
said
the
you said
players
there's only so much you could do with the
crush
hoop
the
and
ball.
ball.
No,
There's only so much you could do with the bat and baseball. Like, you can only hit a home run. You can only do what? Hit it over the wall.
yeah, but it's not this. The ball goes
You can't hit a
goes a
home run
different.
behind your back. You can't hit a home run between your legs.
But that home
You can't
run,
get it. You can't hit a no look home run.
but that no that home run is different every time. It goes high, it goes straight, it goes right, it goes left, it goes 500 yards, it barely gets over the
What happens?
wall.
What happens when it hits the baby in the stands and bounce off his noggin, like it
Well,
did last week?
did it really? I didn't see
Yeah, it was a
that.
highlight. Uh, it out of all the people in the crowd, it went through all these people standing up and hit the baby that was sitting down with his mother, and it bounced off his head.
That
But
is
he's safe. He's all
awful.
good. I mean, it wasn't anything major.
Yeah, well, we hope not. I mean, he had a baseball that was throwing 100 miles an hour and hit back, and both
And
of them.
that's why the
This is
basketball
why basketball is
is
better
better, because there's no injuries, no
okay.
fan injuries. You can actually have fans participate, bring them out
You,
the stands, jump over them, hold the ball, throw you a oop, sit in a chair, you know,
well,
stand
Jimmy,
there blindfolded, wear shades, glasses. They could be a part of it. In
they could.
baseball, what are they going to do?
Dude,
stand out
the
in the,
fans are
you can't stand
no,
in the
Jimmy, this
infield, outfield. You can't
this
pitch from the ball.
no, this argument, they have the fans out. I don't know if they did this year, but in the past, they've had the fans out in the outfield. They get to run around in the grass and catch the ball. It's a lot of fun for
Yeah,
the
they do.
kids to try to get these home runs. There's a lot of fan engagement in the home run derby. All right, Jimmy, sticking with the home run derby, but kind of going off sports a little bit. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it, and Nate wanted to save our viewers from the actual audio of this, but country singer Ingrid Andress sang the national anthem at the home run derby. Unfortunately, her performance kind of went viral,
For
not
the
in a
wrong
good way,
reason.
Jimmy. She's a 4-time Grammy nominated singer songwriter, and she missed several notes and it was, I listened to it and it hurt. I would recommend not listening to it. Here's a couple comments made. One X user said, "It's impressive that this Ingrid Andress has missed every single note." And Alex Carr from Sports Illustrated said, "I'm so sorry. I'm sure Ingrid Andress is a wonderful person, but that was one of the worst national anthems I think I have ever heard in my whole life." Now, Jimmy, and a side note, and maybe this is just a purely PR move on her part, she apologized for having too much to drink before the national anthem and checked herself in the rehab. She checked herself
You
into
know,
rehab.
you know what that
Over.
you know
Oh, I know
what that
exactly what it
tells
means.
us.
I know exactly what it means. The concert promoters and the record label were calling the managers saying, "Fix this mess. This is not the right type of news." But Jimmy, is that the worst national anthem you have ever heard?
Yes, that is the worst.
Oh,
I thought I heard some bad ones. I remember um,
Carl
uh,
Lewis.
Carl Lewis. That was bad. Um, I heard I can't remember. It was a
If
couple
you're going to
others.
say what I'm going to say, then I'm going to say it's not the worst, because the worst ever was Roseanne Barr.
I don't know. Because
That
Roseanne is actually a comedian. Like I expected something like that from her. She's not a singer. I
well,
expected her to go up there and do
this is
something
an
corny, which
interesting
she
point.
did.
This is an
But
interesting point, Jimmy.
but
You are
the
correct.
country singer who makes a living off of it and
Yeah.
actually showed up inebriated, I don't know. That's a bad choice. She sounded horribly. And then she followed it up by saying she was drunk and she checked herself in to rehab. I don't know, man. I
No,
think
Jimmy, I'm going to go ahead and I say you changed my mind in the last 45 seconds, because I was going to go ahead and say Roseanne Barr was the worst, and it was the worst because she came out and she intentionally botched it, and then
right.
remember she grabbed her kind of private
Mhm,
area. Remember when
mhm.
that was like a big deal? Like
Yeah,
now they just do whatever, nobody cares.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But so look it up, fans at home, if you want to see Roseanne Barr do the national anthem. But I think Jimmy has convinced me this is the worst national anthem ever, and Jimmy hit it on the head because she's an actual singer.
The actual singer.
Roseanne Barr and Carl Lewis are not
Are not
singers.
singers.
they're
This is like
they're
they hired her thinking, this is going to at least sound good, or we hired a professional to, handle the light work of doing the national anthem, something that's a ritual that's done for every game, no problem. They didn't even think twice about that. But when they heard that, I'm sure they were shaking in their boots. But
well,
y- did
get
did
her
you
in
see the
rehab.
whole thing? Did you watch it?
I
Did
watched
you
the
watch
national
it?
anthem. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was horrible. It
It
was
was
it
bad.
was one of it's by far one of the worst I've ever seen.
Okay. So that's it. I agree with Jimmy. Worst national anthem ever. Here we moving on to the actual All-Star game itself, Jimmy. A lot of baseball this week. So, the 5 baseball fans in America, hopefully they watch our show. I'm kidding, baseball fan. The winner of the MLB All-Star game was at Globe Life Park here in Arlington. The American League beat the National League, Jimmy, for the 10th time out of 11 games.
That's crazy.
Uh,
That's that.
5-3. This one was close. Red Sox outfielder Jaron Duran was named the MVP of the game after hitting a crucial 2-run home run to break a tie in the late innings of the game. Our guy, Paul Skeens, uh, he started the game and pitched a scoreless first inning before we take it out. Your guy, Mr. Gambling Man, Shohei Ohtani, he went and he cracked a home run in the All-Star game. So good to him. So Jimmy, is the All-Star game good for baseball? I mean, what do you think? Do you like it? Should they mess with it like basketball or like football definitely has done, or is it
I
a
mean, you
time honored tradition?
as time as time goes on, time moves on, you do have to evolve. Things have to grow. You get different fans. You have to keep them engaged. You have to be involved, or at least have some foresight to keep fans involved. So yeah, you do have to switch up. You do have to uh keep fans engaged. And I think one way of doing it, which is a subtle way, is the uniforms. I think the uniforms that they had in the All-Star game were nice. They look good. The colors, the colors worked well together. The what is it called? The font on the uniforms actually looked crisp and neat and clean. Which is kind of contradictory for a baseball player. You want to see some dirt on it, but like we're talking for the casual fan, if you're trying to get eyeballs and you're trying to invite people, you do want to look good. So from that aspect and from that point, I think they're doing a good job, because I did personally watch some of the game because I was peeping their uniforms, as you could tell.
Yeah, well, Jimmy King and fashion advice are well
Of
noted
course,
here. King and
baby.
Chapman.
We from the Fab Five.
We Fab
Long
Five.
shorts, black shoes, black socks, and bald heads.
Bald heads? Is that what you said?
Bald heads.
Did you
So
guys
I
all
had
have
to
bald?
cut this off for the brotherhood.
Okay, Jimmy, this is a good time to have a little story time by Jimmy. So, Jimmy, how did the black socks and baggy shorts come about for the Fab Five?
So when we got to campus, traditionally the shorts, just not at Michigan, just in general across the board,
In that
uh,
era, it was the
and that
still kind of the shorty short era,
it was
right?
the
Late
shorter short.
80s. Yeah.
Yeah, the longer shorts were coming into play. So when we got to Michigan, they still had short shorts. And so we, went to head coach Steve Fisher and asked him if we could get longer shorts. And he said that if we win games for him, he will then order the longer shorts for us. But the first time, here's a nugget
Here we
that
go.
the general public doesn't know. The first time they ordered those shorts, we sent them back because
Oh,
all they did was they made the shorts wider. They weren't necessarily longer.
ah,
So they were baggier, but they weren't longer. So
yeah.
we sent them back, and we almost didn't have long shorts ready for our first game. So they got them back to us in time, and instead, so they put an extra 3 inches in the inseam, which made the shorts a little longer.
So I thought that I had heard that you guys ordered larger sizes, but that's not the case. They had the shorts made for you in
Yeah,
your
we
size.
had to get the inseams longer because
Okay.
all they did is make the short like they gave us bigger sizes, but they were the same length. So they
Okay.
were just a little wider and a little baggy, which made them baggier, but they weren't longer. So so they went back to the drawing board, came back with the longer inseams, which worked. And then we had to help them, kind of combine the two because what they did was kept the shorts narrow and a little longer, so they were tight on the hips and a little loose in the leg. They looked a little funny at first, but then
But
they finally got the material and
so
the
you're saying even
cut.
so
Right.
the first time you wore them, they weren't you improved them as you went, right? So what you're
Yeah,
saying,
but
they're a
by
little
my senior year, they had the jerseys down. By my senior year, the material was different, the stitching was different, the
well by then
numbers, everything, lettering.
by then you guys were legendary. And Jimmy the Black
Ooh, by
Sox.
then I had like 20 million in today's NIL. Brent, you would have got me 20 million, man.
I would have hooked you up, Jimmy. We would both have been very happy. These would not be
No,
gloves
that was
on a shirt, they would be actual gold gloves around my neck. Jimmy,
gold
tell me though,
chain.
real quick, tell me about the Black Sox. How did was that like one of your guys' idea? Like how did that come about?
So black socks, I wore black socks in high school. Ray wore black socks at his school in high school. Ironically, it just happened that when we got together, um, we were looking to make a mark and separate ourselves from um, everyone else. And we started with the shorts, so we went down to the shoes. We couldn't really,
Can't do
change the
much.
shoes. The shoes is what they were.
Yeah.
So we focused on the socks, and we started, having discussions on what we can do. And I told them about my days at Plano East coming up. We wore black socks, and then in Ray wore black socks at LBJ in his high school days. So we decided to do that. And so when we went down to Houston fresh sophomore year, our first game was against Houston in the great state of Texas.
That's
And we
right.
went to the Galleria Mall where they only had I think they had like two pairs of black socks, black athletic socks. Everything else were um dress socks, church
Yeah.
socks is what we
Yeah.
call them. So we had to, scour the whole mall just to find five pairs of black socks. And that sounds crazy today, but that's what we did. And then
Was
we
that so was
unveiled
sophomore year? So you didn't wear the Black Sox freshman year? That was
our
sophomore year?
freshman year. No, freshman year with the shorts. Um, and then sophomore year with the socks.
Interesting. Well, Jimmy, thanks for sharing that with us. That's an awesome
We
story.
wore well, hold on. Let me back up. We did wear black socks uh with white shoes our freshman year,
Okay.
but we wore black shoes with black socks our sophomore year.
Sophomore year was the black shoes and black socks. Dude,
Yeah.
that's an awesome. You're right. That is you're not going to know that you're not a lot of that is not, necessarily known. So thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. And that folks is why you should tune into the King and Chapman Show, because you get to learn cool little nuggets like that in the middle of a conversation about the All-Star game and Wimbledon. So so Jimmy, Wimbledon was this past weekend. Also, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So the
What's
men's final was Carlos Alcaraz versus Novak Djokovic. And Alcaraz beat, he's one of these upcoming guys. There he is holding his trophy. He beat Djokovic in the final. On the women's side, Barbara Krishkova claimed the title as well. So we had an exciting Wimbledon. But Jimmy, you're a legend like Djokovic, and you make it to the final, you gotta win, right? You,
You're supposed to.
it's
You
it's
can't
automatic,
you
right?
can't you can't march all the way down the aisle and then don't commit.
So are you surprised that he got, I mean, look, Alcaraz is a great player, an up and coming player, but he's not a legend, right? Djokovic is a legend. So surprised that Djokovic didn't get it done, or is it just kind of what happens at the kind of the end of the career? That's
It,
kind
it
of
it happens again. It's the passing of the torch. I seen an article earlier talking about how everybody wants to be like Mike, but before Mike there was Dr. J,
yep.
and and Doc, was the standard until MJ eclipsed it in some people's and most people's minds. But it's the same thing in all sports. You get the passing of the torch. You get the upstart Alcaraz who youthful, different style, aggressive style. Um, it's something different than Djokovic. Even with in the women's, I think a lot of people expected Polini to win that match because she was so much higher ranking than her opponent. Her opponent was the second highest or second lowest um, ranking to ever win Wimbledon in the women's
Wow.
tournament. She was 31st in for this
Wow.
tournament and ended up winning. So
Cr-
it's that's why we love sports, really. That's why we love sports, is because we want to, it's supposed to be unpredictable. Even if the number one team plays the bottom team, you still want to be entertained. You still want to see good competition and some upsets. Who doesn't like seeing a good underdog beat the upstarts, or upstart beat the old wily veterans. Those are the things that we like to see, because those are two contrasting styles and philosophies in a sense.
Jimmy, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, right, that he didn't win. But you're right. I totally agree with you. The issue with these type of matches is it is an any given Sunday type situation, right? Especially at this level. When you're talking about the Wimbledon final, I don't care if you're 31st ranked. You just beat a lot of good people to get to the Wimbledon final, which means you can win that match, right?
Correct.
Now, was the other girl, if they play 9 times out of 10, would they win? Maybe. That's not the point about these tournaments. That's not the point of one game, one match, one play, right? It can go either way when you have performers that have dedicated their lives and are at a certain level. So
Mhm.
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed Djokovic didn't get it done, but I'm not surprised. Uh, moving along, now we're going to do a little basketball, Jimmy. Team USA is in the qualifying rounds 2 weeks in for the Paris Olympics. It's a pretty loaded team, if you ask me. They've got that's seven, Jimmy, MVPs on the team.
Ooh.
And that doesn't even include Kevin Durant. So, Jimmy, they're 3-0, and they just got done with a 105-79 beating of Serbia and Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Jimmy, does Team USA lose a game, or is this just kind of like Dream Team won? Whew, we just kind of flow right through to the gold medal stand at the end.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I hope it is, but that's not what we've seen from Team USA of late. There've been some close games, some close calls. But I do think they finally got the team. I think they got, the veterans and LeBron, who's finally playing first time in a long time.
Yep.
And I think that kind of boosts, everybody's confidence, everybody's morale. And I think that also strikes fear in other teams, which, wasn't the case in the past few Olympics. So I think they got the right mix this time, and I hope they can run through. But we'll never see another dream team one where they're blowing out opponents by 40 plus points. That
And we'll
day is
never
over.
see a team.
The gap between the NBA players and overseas players, because those are pro players too.
They are.
Um,
And
it
We'll certainly never
diminished
see
a
a
lot.
team like the Jimmy King led 2008 World Championship bronze medal team either. So I
19,
totally
19, that was 1998, not
1998,
2000.
sorry,
Yeah,
2000.
1998.
1998. I
I'm
apologize.
old, man.
Yeah, I can't believe I said 2008. Yeah,
I'll take those
19.
10 years.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that would have made you. That make you a pretty young man right now. That make you
Yeah,
younger than me, Jimmy.
yeah.
That is not the case.
I'll roll back through the 40s. No, I'm looking forward to
To
stroll through the 50s, right? I
the
got my
twilight.
AARP card. The
That's right.
benefits look good. You
Hey,
know what I'm
Jimmy.
saying? I'm about to dip into my AARP, man.
Jimmy, does that mean we can get discounted prices on those Tyson tickets that we
Yeah,
got to get?
get
Yeah, we got
plane
to.
tickets. Um, uh, what else? Oh, you know what else I found? Getting all these discounts. Groupon.
Oh,
Groupon
really?
is another way to save.
All right. I love it,
Yeah.
Jimmy. I didn't know. So, for
Hey
those of
man,
you
this
turning
all
in that have an
experience.
AARP card,
50 years of experience.
that's right. Jimmy King will tell you all your AARP discounts on the King and Chapman Show.
Absolutely.
Book it in.
Hit me up. I'm on the website every night.
That's right, Jimmy. All right, Jimmy. Moving along to our final topic of the show. You can't see me, Jimmy. And I wish there weren't like copyright restrictions so I could kick the music in right now. Hit that picture, Nate. There we go. There he is. All right, back to me, Nate. Come on, I got to do my. There we go. We got our You can't see me, Jimmy. John Cena, the 16-time World Wrestling Champion, has announced his retirement from the WWE. But Jimmy, this is a very unique announcement. You know, John has had a movie career, right? He's been in a bunch of different movies like Suicide Squad and Barbie and the Fast and the Furious franchise, right? And he's created this movie career and he doesn't need to wrestle anymore, right? That's how he got his fame. But he's been wrestling throughout the years. He wrestles every year, comes in, does some matches, right? He's been loyal to the fan base that built his popularity, which I appreciate. The Rock has too. And we talked about The Rock, I think probably on our first show, I think. So you got John Cena, and he comes out, and this was a couple Sundays ago, and announces his retirement. But what he's gonna do is he's gonna participate in about 30 to 40 dates from now until WrestleMania, which is in April of 2025. And then he'll have his final match at WrestleMania, and that'll be it for John Cena. So he gets to have sort of, the going away tour. John Elway had it, and Brett Favre had it, and Derek Jeter had and they come. Michael Jordan had it with the Wizards, and everyone comes and goes and watches Michael Jordan play one last time, right? So, Jimmy, do you like John Cena's approach to retirement? The sort of, you know, give the heads up and the long goodbye. What do you think?
I do. Because a lot of times you don't get the opportunity to do that. Most times athletes have to be carried off or
Yeah.
pushed out or, you know, unceremoniously, let go. And so, yeah, I like that he's getting ahead of it. I like that he's going out on his own terms. Like you said, he's built up a great career outside of the WWE and making great big time movies. And he's a good actor. He's good at it. He's funny. Um, so kudos to him for having a heads up and not letting his heart overweigh his mind and walking out where you can see him.
That's right. Jimmy, I have another question for you. This is a little bit more nerdy wrestling question. So John Cena has won the title 16 times. That actually ties the record with the great Ric Flair. They both won 16 championships. That's the record. So Jimmy, in these final 6-8 months, does John Cena capture title 17 to break the record?
No,
No.
no, he does not. Out of respect for the great Ric Flair, he stays tied. And that's why he's going to gracefully bow out. He respects the people that comes before him,
That
the
is
people that's
very
lifted the wrestling world and have their names written in wrestling lore forever. Like his name would be right up there with Ric Flair. His name would be right up there with Randy Macho Man Savage. His name would be up there with The Rock. His name would be up there with all the greats who graced the ring. And memorable because they have great personalities. That's what separates the stars from superstars.
It's an interesting take, Jimmy. Obviously, wrestling is scripted, so allowing him to break the record would be something that would generate, right, excitement. And, here's what I think. I think if they wait to the last match to have him fight for the title, you're right. He won't win. He won't win. But I think as they're in this 50 or 40 match, they might have him grab it just so that he can break the record and then have him fight a
And they
final
have
match.
another storyline to go on.
They'll
It's
have
kind of
another
like the same.
storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the same line of,
Dude, they're trying to sell
changing of the
tickets.
guard.
They're
Yeah,
trying to
absolutely.
sell tickets.
I
Having
can see
John
that.
Cena break the record will sell tickets, right? And have him have a big match, against somebody that maybe he hasn't fought
Absolutely.
before or
That's
whatever.
what it's about, growing the brand
That's
and selling tickets.
all right, Jimmy. It's been a long show, but that's it. And we're moving along to the last word. Jimmy, I'll let you go first. What's your last word tonight?
The last word is that even if you hire a professional, you're not guaranteed to get a professional job. And I'm going to leave it at that. Carl, you didn't have the worst national anthem. Roseanne, you didn't have the worst national anthem. And that's my last take.
What's funny is Jimmy was saying that, and I thought maybe he was making some like incendiary cheap shot at his roofer or something, right? Like he hired a professional, you get a professional job, right? Or I had the air conditioning guy come out today, right? I thought maybe this was no. I get what Jimmy's saying. He's taking a shot at the young country singer lady whose way to cover it up was to go check herself into rehab. My last word, Jimmy, is let's see. What is my last word, Jimmy? My last word is Team USA basketball. Now, I've watched a little bit, and in the last game, Steph Curry led the team in scoring. And I'm still not seeing Ant Edwards being the number one option.
They're saving them. They're saving them
You're
for
saving
when they
them
get
for
into
the
the full play.
real games.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the real
Okay.
game.
Okay.
And you don't come on.
Better last word. My last word, Jimmy, is they need to have a seniors home run derby. That's what they need. They need to bring back Mark McGuire and your guy, Jose Canseco, and Sammy Sosa, and Alex Rodriguez.
I'm down
And
with it.
they need to bring back those guys and let them just maybe do it with softballs and just watch Mark McGwire, who
Crush
just
one.
just crush him at 50 or 60 years old or however old he is right now, right? Just watch him crush him. What do you
We
think,
might as
Jimmy,
well
about
just
my
have
big
him
idea?
out there with exploding balls.
Yeah, Jimmy, this is it, Jimmy. Now, this is almost, it's not as good, but it's almost as good as my fight to the death boxing idea, right? The unlimited rounds of boxing. This is it. All-time classic home run derby. Bring back the old guys. Let them duke it out. I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm
Let's
with
do it.
that. I'm with that across the board. I think we should have like a forum where it's across the board, where you could call out any athlete, football, call out basketball, because there was a beef between can one
That
sport play the other. So,
it's a little bit
put them in
harder.
the ring, put them in like a boxing, like a 3-round
Yeah,
boxing
it's
match, 3
it's a little
minutes.
bit harder. It's a little bit harder with sports like basketball, right? Because of the physical and as you get older, your knees and stuff, right? But like
Mhm.
baseball, I'm telling you, have you seen Mark McGwire lately? He's a hitting coach. I bet that guy
Mhm.
can hit 40 home runs or whatever.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, not in a
I
real
I put
game,
my
but in a,
I would put my money on Jose too.
yeah, exactly. Jose, and he would come. He would not take a pee test before the thing. He would come ready to go. No,
Nah,
no
because he's gonna
rules
let
on.
you know he's already on.
Yeah, we already. All right, Jimmy. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Everybody
B.
watching, thank you. Everyone have a great night.
Thank you, Nate.
Peace.
Peace.